Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by PlayPicks and The Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guys Nate Weitzer and Mo Nawara, talking all things baseball with you guys as we roll along here on a pretty big Thursday night slate, gentlemen. Just to remind you all, we are bringing you those night games, so we got plenty of time to get those out. Not the morning time if you're on the Pacific Coast, or afternoon games, as we won't have enough time to get those out, but plenty to choose from tonight. So we are going to run through some of these best bets and a bunch of props that we might be considering tonight. Make sure you do like and subscribe to that page so you can continue to get all of these videos that we will be bringing you each and every weekday throughout this long MLB season. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's jump into those lines.
Yeah, we do have 2 day games, starting with the A's, who are once again big underdogs at the Rays, plus 175 there. Mariners in another toss-up with the White Sox. Then we get into some later starts. Adam Wainwright will go for the Cardinals. They're plus 130 at the Brewers after Wainwright got an extra day of rest due to that rain out. Brandon Woodruff looking to bounce back from a rough start for the Brew Crew. Then the Nats are in a toss-up at the Pirates, a game we're going to look at. Kyle Gibson looking to maintain that success in his opener at Miami. It is their home opener. They have Sandy Alcantara on the mound. Blue Jays and Yanks in yet another matchup. We got Kevin Gossman making his second start for the Blue Jays. Luis Severino goes for the Yankees. Then the Angels are minus 130 at the Rangers. Shohei Ohtani on the mound against Dane Dunning. Then we have the Tigers at the Royals. Pretty much toss up there. And a toss up with the Charlie Morton and the Braves at the Padres, throwing Joe Musgrove. The Cubs head to Coors Field, where there's a total of 11.5 runs as 2 lefties go at it, Justin Steele, Kyle Freeland. And then finally, the Reds are big underdogs, plus 200, with Walker Buehler going for the Dodgers in LA. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing if Kyle Gibson has kind of figured some things out. I mean, you can teach an old dog new tricks. To a degree, he's coming off a bunch of really rough seasons, but kind of seemed to figure it out down the stretch last season, and extremely efficient in his debut against that depleted A's lineup, albeit one of the first guys in history to get 10 Ks, go 7 innings, and throw 85 pitches or fewer. So, I mean, if that ground ball is working, then he'll be able to navigate a Marlins lineup that, frankly, isn't much better than the A's lineup. I mean, they're hitting 199 so far this season, 28th in on-base percentage and dead friggin' last in extra base hit percentage. So, I mean, 8 runs is the total here, and I'm not worried about necessarily going under here, because I respect Alcantara a lot too. I would look specifically maybe at the under the first 5 innings, because I think Gibson will find a way to go that deep. Even though his last trip to Miami was a complete disaster. That was 8 earned runs over 5 innings. I think he'll find a way to bounce back from that. Alcantara has been excellent at this stadium. The extra spaciousness of Marlins Stadium. His last 13 home starts, 2.3 ERA, 86 Ks, 17 walks, but he's 2-5 because of that run support that he's not likely to get from an offense that, a cheap ownership that chased Derek Jeter out the door by not paying for anybody. So, I mean, he struggled against the Phillies in 3 starts last year as well. Still, I mean, the Marlins, like I said, not a lot of runs coming in the door here, under in 4 straight after going 6-5 in the loss in their opener. So, I mean, I would look at just ways of saying this is going to be close early. You can bet that first 5 innings total, maybe the Marlins to hang around and actually lead after 5 innings. Because I think if any one of these starters is going to lapse early, it would be Gibson. Alcantara has such a good fastball and slider that I think he can at least get into the 4th or 5th inning without major damage.
Yeah, I don't mind that look at all, actually. I'm not a Kyle Gibson guy at all. I think he's a pretty poor fit on the Phillies because their infield defense is so bad. And I'm a little concerned that his velocity was down quite a bit, actually, 1.5 miles per hour in the debut. I know it went well, but it's the A's, so I'm just like taking that with a pound of salt. But I will say, first of all, like you said, the Marlins stink at batting so far. I was worried about this for sure when I fired my Marlins futures, but I was hoping they would hit the high end of their offense, and not so far. It's still early. But one big split that's really important that I'm looking at here is actually the Marlins batted ball split. So they're fourth in grounders, like most grounders hit so far. And I think that's one of the things we've actually got a decent sample because, it's taking into account every batted ball from every player on the team. And usually against a ground baller like Gibson, you want a lineup that's more fly ball oriented. And I think so. The fact that the Marlins do hit so many grounders does kind of play into his strength. And yeah, I don't mind the under because, yeah, like you said, I'm a big fan of Alcantara. He's very good. So given that it's a good matchup for Gibson and a good pitcher on the other side, it seems fine.
Yeah, and the Phillies haven't exactly been, a world-beating offense in their first few, games so far overall as well. So I think that does play into, Alcantara being able to have some success. Gibson also does elicit a decent amount of first pitch swings as well. That was something I was looking at with the Marlins. They have swung a bunch at the first pitches, especially at the top of their lineup, which is helpful, as you also mentioned there, for a ground ball pitcher, Mo, which should play into his hands a little bit. And even if you think it was a bit of a fool's gold with his success against a really, really bad A's lineup after it lost his two best hitters, I would say that this is still another lineup that he can probably at least take advantage of, especially with that ground ball rate that you mentioned, Mo. So moving on to another one, we'll just keep it in the NL East to a degree here with those Atlanta Braves. Mo, always got plenty to say about them, I'm sure. But what do you like about their matchup here in San Diego against the Pods?
So I like both of these pitchers. I have them like pretty much deadlocked, well above average, Joe Musgrove and Charlie Morton. I feel like Morton's kind of the more consistent guy. Musgrove, I feel like he has some bigger swings in his performance. I like the Braves offense more than the Padres, especially without Tatis. And I do think the Braves have an edge in the bullpen. So I did have the Braves very, very slightly favored in this game. I'm not really interested in them until I can get like plus 110. We're not seeing anything like that. So we got to see where the lines move tomorrow before I would be willing to bet the Braves. But Nate did throw an interesting little prop out there when we were talking a little bit before. He said Charlie Morton has, at one of the books he was looking at, a total batters retired of 17. So that's just a hair shy of 6 full innings. Be surprised if he goes that long. I'll be honest. They only let him throw 78 pitches in the opener. He's never been like a super deep going pitcher. And the Padres actually do work their fair share of counts. So, I just I think that's actually pretty good under 17 outs. Be a little bit surprised if he went that deep.
Yeah, under 16.5 is the line, but it is nearly even money, whereas you're getting only minus 125 to go over that. And I actually would take some value on the Braves getting to Musgrove a little bit. I mean, for him to give up 5 hits is minus 105. For him to give up 3 runs, plus 130. And to me, he seems like a guy that the Padres are going to ride with through 5 or 6 innings. Even if he does give up a couple, and he's given up 3+ earned in 4 of his last 6, including one against the Braves last September, gave up 3 earned, gave up 7 hits, struck out 9. So, I mean, the manager probably sticking with him at that point. I mean, he's got stuff working, but he will still go out some production to a Braves lineup that has been feast or famine, but is really just pretty talented all around. I mean, world champions and all. But interesting, you say not going deep. And we have Shohei Ohtani, who was pretty much hard capped at 80 innings, right? I mean, would they have taken him out in the middle of an at bat if he hit 80 pitches, excuse me. If he hit that 80 mark, like Clayton Kershaw basically got yanked in the middle of a perfect game at 80 pitches. It's exactly what you're talking about in terms of teams taking it real slow here with the limited spring training. And I mean, with huge commodities, $300 million arms like those two. So I don't know how deep he'll go. I think that's why you are getting some value with the Angels at minus 130 here in Texas. But I think it's a pretty good matchup for their offense in terms of just finding that big hit off Dane Dunning, who has a high ground ball rate, but when he does give up fly balls, they go far, and he has bad reverse platoon splits too. He gave up a 24% home run fly ball ratio to righties last year, a 37% hard hit rate overall, and struggled against the Angels because they have a lot of power hitting righties. 7.7 ERA, 13 Ks, 6 walks. As you know, he has that kind of dipping cutter, right? That's easier to get ground balls from lefties. Righties, if it hangs up at all, we know what Trout and Rendon and company could do with it. So I'll take the Angels there at that offense-powered stadium out in Texas.
I was interested in this one mainly because two good pitchers, at least solid for Dunning. It's actually, I checked that split while you were talking about how many grounders, because Dunning is a ground baller, like you said. Angels are actually fourth lowest grounders. So they are pretty good at elevating the baseball. So that does bode pretty well for them in this matchup against Dunning. So that does actually make me lean a little more towards the Angels, because I did have that as just close to a fair line, but slightly higher. So I will definitely take a look at the Angels again here. Ohtani, yeah, such a talent. And hopefully as he gets stretched out, he's going to go a little deeper into these games.
Yeah, he's going to have to if the Angels are going to win, as their bullpen in 6 games so far this season has been, I think, atrocious. Is fair. I believe, 6.31 ERA there. Their FIP is almost at 6.5 as well. And so, we've got 6 appearances. Obviously no one's gone the distance yet for any of those starters. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani, I believe, didn't make it to 6 in the first outing as well. So, I don't know. You consider some runs, but I still think, obviously minus 130 is not your favorite line for the Angels, but I do still think it's fair that the Rangers, there's some pretty bad numbers for them. Also, nothing like a series for them in their last one to get things right a little bit. But still, in terms of playing the Rockies there, it didn't necessarily help them enough at this point for us to feel comfortable with them. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. We're going to continue to bring you these night games each and every weekday throughout this MLB season. So until we see you next, happy betting.